Tonight is Wednesday, February 12th, 2025. The time is 7:00 p.m. I'd like to call the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. Myself, Mike Capper, present.
Donnie Kern, present.
Chris Duback, present.
Anybody online want to comment on any agenda items? Review the minutes of January 8th.
Move to accept the minutes as presented.
Second,
I'll second.
first and second for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Library report. Christina, are you ready?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, we're back into being busy again. We've got just yesterday, I guess, there was a fitness program that started at the library. We have a free instructor with American Heart Association doing that. We have 17 people signed up. It's mostly for older adults. So that is going great. We have a Dungeons and Dragons program. We've got some stuff for Valentine's Day, of course, for February. And then we have a new notification system to let people know, like usually people to when their materials are coming due or when they've ordered materials from other libraries. So that notification system is new because it's text message. So that's kind of nice for some people too. So those are some of the things that are going on. And I also have in the packet, I asked Andrea to include this to something about impact fees, if you have that too.
Yeah, let me just pull it up on the agenda then.
Okay.
So this discussion, possible recommendation, request to use impact fees.
Yep. Yeah, so this went before the library board back in January. We have some kind of real cruddy tables. They're actually old display tables from Pier 1 Imports when they went out of business in the library, but they're not very stable in there now. And so we're like, hey, there's all these impact fees. And when I talked to, I cannot remember the name of the company that did the impact fees, but he said, yeah, this could be funded, the tables and chairs, since it's part of the building kind of completion, could be included in this too. So it was included when you guys redid the community needs assessment in September of 2024.
And I did some research on this, Christina, just because I wasn't sure. I thought the impact fees were use of like remodeling or new buildings, things like that. But I did look it up, and equipment or furniture and chairs are included. Andrea, what kind of dollar amount do we have in the library's portion of the impact fees for the village?
$54,000.
$54,000 in there now.
Yep.
So, and this, your ask is for?
This is, the last quote I got was for $7,300 for these things.
So I'm confused. In the overview, you're asking for approval to use 12,000. Are you seeking the 12,000 or are you seeking the $7,800? I mean, is there going to be additional needs or
the 78? Not, the 12,000 was an estimate that we worked with at one point. It's not that much. So
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of impact fees from the library's impact fees in the amount not to exceed $7,900 in case there's some subsidiaries, or do you think this is a final cost here?
It was a while ago that I did get a quote, but it has been a while since I got it. So hopefully it has.
Do you want a little room on that?
Yeah, maybe you should say not to exceed 8,000. Just in case.
My motion,
I don't want to come back to you next month.
Reflect that recommendation from Christy on that.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, and there's something in there for the items that were outlined in Christina's proposal?
Yes, I believe it's 24 armless chairs and 6 tables and 6 sets of casters for the tables.
First and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, people will be
And
happy.
then what's the timeline on this? When will you guys be able to get them in?
I think he told me 6 weeks.
Okay, great,
So I hope faster, but we'll see.
thank you.
I'll let you know.
Impact fee report?
2 impact fees in January. I did just receive 2 more this week, after this report was already done.
Oh, both the other 2 from Capstone as well?
refresh my memory. Last year, was it 30?
3-0.
30?
Mhm.
I looked on the minutes and I thought it was, but I thought it was 31, but 30 is what it was, okay.
Department head meeting?
Not yet.
For 2024 budget and 2025 budget review. Anything out of the ordinary, Andrea?
For 2025, no. There is some overage on expenses in 2024. But I will be reviewing all transactions to make sure that everything is coded correctly for 2024, and then the auditor will be here not next week, but the following week, so the 24th, the week of the 24th, and they'll be reviewing those transactions as well.
Any, I'm not saying any huge overages, but
No.
anything that's,
No, it's just a little here, a little there, and, like I reported at a previous meeting, those insurance premiums, one insurance premium that we had to pay for the previous year is part of that.
That's part of that $40,000
Yeah.
average for the year.
Yep.
Do you know what portion of that might have been? Because in the year prior, we were under budget,
Yep,
you know, and so if we
Yeah.
kind of melded the 2 years,
right,
would we be a little more closer to,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, yep. I can't remember the amount off the top of my head, but I can. come up really quickly. It's all the overages on liability and liability and some of professional. So I want to say it was around 18,000, 20,000. I can't remember for sure. And I can't access it on this computer.
But overall, I think in the last 2 years, we've been pretty much at budget or, you know, right there, because I think we were under budget by more than 40,000 last year.
Mhm.
any more questions on the budget?
And then you putting everything together on this.
So
Final numbers, you said once the auditor come in when?
the auditor will be here the week of the 24th of this month. But it's usually a couple months, so I would say July, August time, we'll have that audit report.
Unfinished business, discussion possible recommendation, 2025 budgets, water utility and sewer utility.
And so we got the revised water and utility numbers. I have started dissecting them and looking at them with Bob, but and we got some additional questions even from our meeting here tonight that Andrew is gonna be looking at, and I think we're scheduling a meeting next week. We can finish going over them. Hopefully we'll have some kind of recommendation to come before the full village board after we've had a chance to get the information that was requested.
Okay.
Second to table it to,
To the village
Second.
board.
village board meeting. Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
New business, discussion possible recommendation, performance evaluation process. What did we decide for dates on?
That was, I believe that's what we were going to do tonight.
All right,
Because I have future agenda items from January, timeline for departments.
trying to remember the process from last year. How long we do?
Last year we scheduled, I believe it was,
Half hour increments?
yeah, half an hour increments on, department heads and. Question is gonna be if it works in your schedule.
And we have to post those as a meeting.
Mhm.
Well, as a quorum, possible quorum, yeah.
Right. And when do we want them completed by?
I think we had them completed by April 1st last time, if I remember right. Because it was before the election.
What's the best day for you guys here in the office, Andrew?
What day of the week?
Yes.
Like, it doesn't really matter.
You guys can make yourselves available during the day, right, for us. Is there any time that you guys need to prepare for that? I mean, we send you guys your, you have an opportunity to,
Do the
do the
self-evaluation.
self-evaluation and then you submit them to us. You need about a week, you think, on something like that?
Probably.
So would we say you could have self-evaluations back to us by March 1st and then we could schedule them with you?
That'd be perfect.
Okay, makes sense to you?
Yeah.
To you, Mike?
Yeah, that works.
So do you need a motion on that or is it something that we can just put forward as,
I think, yeah.
self-evaluations by, back to the committee by March 1 and then
Should we try to pick a date then? And that way, and we can find out if it conflicts with anybody else's schedule, so.
Probably the following week. Well, March 1st is a Saturday, so do you want to say February 28th?
Please.
right, so that give you a, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the following week.
Yep.
Because we got finance on the 12th and I'd like to have it done before then.
How about we set a date
I don't
the
see-
first week of March and then a contingency date for. Like
I
either,
think we did it
Tenth
two different times
right,
because we did it, we had like one or two.
but if we could try to get everybody done in one day, and then there's a contingency date for the second. So I'm thinking. Let's see. Monday, March,
I don't want to do the reviews on a Monday. It's
okay,
either gonna be on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday, I'm fairly busy until about noon, so Wednesday.
Well, if we
Wednesday,
did them in the afternoon on Tuesday, it would be, what do you want to do around the like?
Depends, I'm just wondering which day you guys are gonna settle on. Are we
We can
talking,
do-
we're talking the first week of March?
We're talking the 4th or the 5th.
Tuesday, March 4th in the afternoon, or pretty much anytime Wednesday during the day.
Wednesday evening, I'm busy, but during the day.
Wednesday evening, I'm busy too. We
So
got
during the day, I
church business.
Right.
So this Tuesday, March 4th, starting at 1 PM. How late is everybody now? It's still 4:30? 4?
Mhm.
Or do you wanna try to do
I'm fine with
There's only-
Wednesday during the day and try to
only
do
4 of
do
us.
them all?
Right,
Well,
Right.
but then we also,
you have Bob, Tasia, me, and
Joel.
Joel.
We have to make sure, chief is available at that same time, that's the only question.
Yeah.
So put your contingency on, I'm fine with March 4th at 1 PM. Subject to availability of chief, the rest of
Mhm.
everybody would be here, I guess.
Or do you
right?
wanna say March 4th at 1 and then March 5th?
Definitive. Is it
In
fallback?
case.
Yeah,
What's your pleasure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one on a Tuesday. Work,
Same time on the 5th.
if need be, right?
yeah. And then, should we schedule, it'll probably just be 30, should we schedule 45-minute blocks? In case it goes
We
later.
always did 30 minutes and then we took 15 minutes kind of debrief, so I think it was a 45
45-minute
minutes.
blocks.
If we need more time. we'll take it.
What do you guys think about updating this form? Because right now it states every 6 months that they should be evaluated. And this is happening every year, right?
And sometimes it didn't happen for years.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we could definitely update that to once a year, unless you, Andrew, would you like it every couple months?
No, thank you.
So scratch every 6 months and include annually.
I would prefer that, yes.
And then should we put that on our next agenda to get it approved through this committee and then through the board?
The form, you mean?
Yeah,
Does it need to be?
Doesn't. We didn't have it approved before. We just took care of it to make sure we reported it the day it was evaluated. Try to keep it simple.
yeah. Discussion possible recommendation financing for TID 5 and TID 6 incentives.
So Bob and I had a discussion with Ellers, regarding, the Pine Vale project. They're actually to the point where they would get, payment as an incentive as laid out in their developers agreement, which is just shy of $1.4 million. So we're going to need to borrow money for that.
It's a pay-go, isn't it?
No, there's
Not
a,
there.
yeah. So it's basically reimbursing for the infrastructure that was put in, plus some other, language. I don't have that developers agreement in front of me.
So, no, yeah, typically it's a pay-go, so they only get
No,
whatever came back in.
that's,
Different development.
yeah,
Well,
that was a different one.
that's- I deal with tips all the time.
No, but I mean, this was not a pay goal. This development wasn't a pay goal. The other
So,
tip was pay goal.
so we, had a discussion with, Ellers regarding putting together some information for financing as far as, interest rates and such, and they're working on that. But in the meantime,
How soon do we have to act on that, Andrea? Are we able to make it before next month?
they'll probably have something for the board, so, by the time the board meeting, they'll have information available for us. So I was going to say, if we could just forward this to the board for the,
When did that developers agreement get approved? Do you remember what?
And
Here.
then,
March of,
I was gonna say,
Or-
I think April,
I just can't
they
believe
started breaking ground.
not done it as a pay-go.
and then, there's also, the Cap Fest project that also has an upfront payment.
What, which one?
The apartment building, Cap Fest.
Yeah, Capital Investment Group. In TID 5, and that's another $1 million, so, they're going to combine those and present it as one thing.
So Eller's gonna give a presentation, I'm assuming?
Yes,
It would be really nice if we would have got a chance to look and review that beforehand.
yep, so what Josh said is the bond council is looking at it right now. So that's why they weren't able to.
So we
They
got a
said they
million,
could be available by phone to answer any questions, but I said,
1,400,000 in, TID
1.1.
6 and 1 million in, pardon?
1.1 million for
For TID 6, for.
TID
TID 6 or 5?
TID 6 is 1.4.
And
TID
1.1
5
and
is
5.
1.1.
God. And then we're talking annual? Is this gonna be an annual
No,
or is this
one
gonna be a one, huh?
Just one time.
Right, but it was on the prognosis we originally talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When we, before we did the developers agreement, remember he come in and he gave us a
Mhm.
layout.
Yeah.
What I'm asking is that 1.4, that was gonna be this 1 year to get us through.
Yeah.
But we're gonna combine the two. Is that going to be paid out over time?
Yes, yeah. So, and typically.
Because the
they-
interest, the thought behind that all was that the interest payments are
Mhm.
going to be made and principals based on the revenue generated from the tax base in 2026.
Yes,
And so we knew we needed to do this.
yes,
It was a matter of, but I didn't know we had 1.1 coming out of TID 5
mhm,
in 20, that was not in the original prognosis, it was of TID 5.
It was in the developers agreement
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Frank Plurd to put the utilities. across.
utilities, yeah, this is
Or
different.
you're talking about to the building itself
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
This was, they bought the land and we
Yeah.
said, because we originally talked about we were gonna borrow the money and we said, no, we can make the interest payment off the land sale proceeds.
That's a different borrowing that we're making. now,
Right,
so,
and then, and so we took care of that.
Mhm,
And so I'm tracking with you on
Mhm.
everything, but I don't remember the discussion about the $1.1 million at TID 5.
'Cause
TID
at
4, I do.
yeah, at the time.
I'm sorry, TID 6, the 1.4, I
Well, it
remember.
was TID 4, now it's TID 6.
Right,
But, at the time we had that discussion, I don't believe this was approved. This developers agreement for TID 5. Cause that was at budget time in November when we were talking about that.
well, the developers agreement is different than the original prognosis that we went through with Ellers.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm referencing
That's,
to.
yep, but at that time, we had that discussion about the land sale covering.
Yeah, that was a discussion though. That was covering the payment for the,
These details with the developers agreement was not approved when we had that discussion about
and
this.
so that approval of the developers agreement mandated us to put forth 1.1 million
Mhm.
in 3 months' time?
Well, I'm not saying we have to pay it out right away.
Oh, okay,
We're just going to combine the two so
Okay.
that,
giving me a heart attack here. I'm like, when do we gotta pay this? Cause I don't remember, I know the other one.
yeah.
I'm familiar with the other one, cause we talked about that, so.
Yeah.
But
But
the
it's not in this package.
1.1, my ears are like,
Yes,
are we
no,
talk-
we're just combining the two in the one financing so that we don't have to go through this again in
sure,
4 or
but
5
how,
months.
but we still have two separate TIDs operating, and I know we're borrowing money, but I still, each TID's gotta operate on its own.
Right,
And TID 5, my understanding was I gotta go back and look. I don't remember us, that was a PAYGO that we, so they were going to be kind of fronting that. And so I'm trying to understand how we're writing a check to them for 1.1 million.
in the, okay, I have that developers agreement right here,
Okay.
and it says. Village obligations, letter A, upfront payment, $1,116,800 of financing assistance will be due and payable to the developer within 60 days after the first of the following occur. Issue of a building permit for the first multi-residential family building or the completion of the first binder of asphalt.
Right, so we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but we're gonna borrow for it.
Oh, okay, so we're, okay.
What page was that on?
Page
But that was financing assistance.
3 to 4,
Page what? 3 or 4?
3 and 4.
Just trying to
90
remember.
days after completion of the first one.
I'm remembering that the discussion that we had with Ellers when we originally talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a prognosis that was laid forward on that, that kind of laid out. And I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Anyways, he's bringing that forward. Maybe they can refresh my memory.
Yeah, yeah. And I can have them provide that again, that
Please,
information.
yeah, if anything happens, send it to me again. I'll review that whole thing because it was probably there because the numbers all made sense.
Mhm.
And that's why we approved it.
Yep.
It's just like the 1-4, we knew that was gonna be due this year.
Mhm.
It's just a matter, we knew we were gonna borrow for it, but we'd be making the principal payments on that.
Yep.
For the next few years until that TID's ready to fill out.
I thought we had changed some of that language with Paul, where it was up to whatever comes in the TID and not a certain dollar amount.
Mhm.
But I'm not seeing those changes in here. Unless I don't have,
So Josh, can you get that info to us?
Yep.
And then we have any questions or whatever, we could call them or talk to them
Yep.
about, okay.
yeah, and if you could send us the signed copies of both developers agreements, we know, because I remember specifically talking about changing some of the language. So if the money wasn't there, we weren't just on the hook for it. And I'm not seeing those changes in here.
Yes, I can do that.
Hopefully I'm looking at an old email.
So are you okay with that, just going right to the board? If you get that information?
Yeah, but, and we have some time. I mean, we have 3 months from the time that they have all their utilities.
For
in,
that
and,
one. Not the other one,
yeah.
not Pinedale.
Okay.
That's.
Well,
And we have 60 days from when they sign off on the lien release. So, which is
so we do have time there too.
60 days, yeah, but it takes a while to borrow money. So, not much, yeah.
What page is it on, Pine?
I don't have Pine Vales, I just have my email. But I'll send you both, please. Yeah.
Board meeting is until the 25th.
Mhm.
If there is a need for us to meet as a finance and go over this with Ellers prior to that, is that something maybe we might want to consider?
I'd be good with that.
Right.
And we could even do it by Zoom, because they would be by Zoom.
I'd prefer to at least get a chance to review this. I don't like to get, I'm feeling uneasy about this because I know some of the
Mhm.
stuff, but I want to talk to them. I really like to take a minute or two to review this all in finance before we bring that to them. Is there a chance that we might be able to see if there's a possibility of, a Zoom meeting on the 24th, or the week prior?
I prefer not the 24th, just because that's when the auditor's here.
Oh, the week prior then?
Mhm. there's the primary on the 18th, so either the 19th or the 20th. No, court is the 26th, so.
Zoom is preferable for everybody, I mean, for me.
Right.
Might be out of town, on a job up in Pine River, so.
So let's shoot for Thursday, the 20th, and see if Josh and Sean, or Josh and or Sean are available then, and then let's have another contingency date
What
for,
time?
5:30, 6 P.M.
You know, or sooner. What,
Why don't you check with, so we're open all.
will you go down to
afternoon.
19 too if you needed to? Or, I mean, I'm just putting out two options here.
Mhm.
Because if they can't do the 20th, then we're kind of regulated to something else.
I'd be
I'd
okay
rather-
with the 19th too.
Pardon?
I could do the 19th as well.
I could do the 19th from 3 PM to 4:30 PM, otherwise not till the 20th. From.
I'm open on the 19th, if I needed to meet at 3:30, if that works, you know, so if you wanna do a 3:30, otherwise, so you said 3:30 to 5
5,
on the 19th or the 20th? What time?
20th is, I'm open anywhere from 2 PM to 8 PM.
After 4 on the 20th for me.
I'll say 4 o'clock.
And then let's check the well, that's kind of the 25th. 24th is out and 25th is the board meeting, so we could also do before the board meeting if needed,
Oh,
if
sure.
those other.
That's kind of cut and close though,
It is, but if they're not available.
but if I had questions,
You know,
so I think, you know, let's say if we can't, I'm just worried that there's questions or anything like that we can get them ironed out before then.
yeah,
So move to,
otherwise, just sake that they're not available those 2 days, the 21st works for me as well.
yeah, I'm available if I have to by Zoom.
I could make that work.
Let us know if any of those 3 days work.
Okay.
And then you'll send us the
Yep.
signed copies for that, so we can review those, and then let's put those on that, agenda. Discussion possible recommendation, CWS security camera system replacement quote.
So the current system that we have, the company went out of business, so, they're not updating the software. And as our software gets updated, they're not speaking to each other.
So
So,
it goes through a regular computer server or something, or?
there's like a processor in the back that,
A hard drive that
yep,
gathers the data.
yep, and then you have a software link on your computer. Currently, only 2 computers can access the computer or access the cameras. If there's Windows 11, they're not compatible.
How, but it is still working, it is still recording, it's just there's only 2 computers that you can access from
Sometimes,
sometimes.
Yeah.
Do the computers get accessed often to look at the recordings, or? And I hate
well,
to
it would
spend-
be,
I hate to spend $4,000 or whatever if we don't absolutely need it right now. We have-
well, as our computers age and we have to replace them, we will no longer have access to it.
How about from the server itself, can you,
It's not on the server, it's a whole
right,
separate.
but on that separate computer, can you just?
It's not a computer, it's just like a unit that then is connected to the, in the west.
Do we have enough in outlay for it?
Yes, there's money in capital improvements to cover the cost between all the departments in the village hall. And Joel actually added a higher resolution camera. so that if they need to investigate anything, that they can see things clear.
So, we got like the last set of cameras and everything lasted how long?
Since 2018.
7 years?
Mhm.
That was quite a more expensive undertaking though, because they had to run all the wires.
Yeah.
So at least that part's already been done.
Yeah, the last, when we had them installed, it was $16,000 to $20,000, so.
Move to recommend replacement under the estimate here, but I did have a question. We're getting a $600 discount,
Mhm.
and then it's got 50% deposit, so we gotta put 50% up front.
Yes,
Is there any more deeper discount or anything if we paid the job upon completion, or?
I can ask,
Yeah, I think.
if we pay in full
Yeah.
right
Let
away.
me say, if we pay in full, can we get additional, discount on that? I know we're getting 600, but no sense in, we got the money and outlay to pay it. Why don't we see if we can get a better deal on it?
Sure, I can ask. Mhm.
So I'll move to approve it based on, those discussions of possible upfront payment with, deeper discounts.
One second.
First and a second for the discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any future agenda items?
I think I'd like to take a look at the fee schedule for the, do we need to change the ordinance on, sales, what do you call them? Sellers, sellers fees?
Sellers permits?
The direct
Sellers
sellers.
permits? Yeah, direct sellers permits? Or is that something that we can just, take to the board and adjust?
Let's see.
But we don't usually look at those sellers permits as often, or, all the fees. I think there's an annual, we should at least
You
look at
know,
them.
when we went to look at them last time, there was only a few that we could do.
Because the others were
all
tied
the
to
others
ordinance.
were- Yes, so that, in the direct sellers was one of them.
It was tied to an ordinance?
Yep.
So I'd like to look at that ordinance. If we get that and review that as a possible recommendation for, upcoming. We need to look at who's selling and how much.
I'll resend you that email for those table skirts if that's okay.
That sellers fee ordinance, review seller fee ordinance.
I put review direct sellers fee / ordinance.
Got it. Do a turn.
Second.
First and second for the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:38 PM. Thank you, guys.